There we go. What is up, everybody? It is me, Psycho Blue, conductor of the High Train, Mr. Hype Gems, hashtag Crosswires, and once more, hashtag Street Fighter Cross Tekken. It is good to be back, guys, and CEO wrapped up about a week and change ago, but that doesn't mean our party ends. No siree. I'm going to have replays, a bunch of casual matches that we had at CEO, many of them featuring the reigning CEO champion, Spicy Steve, who I am now going to bring online. I'm going to do that right now, thanks to the wonders of Discord. All right, we're on the air. How about you?
I can hear you good.
Awesome, and I can hear you as well. Great to have you on board, Steve. Before we begin, just want to let everybody know up in the interwebs, if you guys are looking for CEO pool footage, I will not be showing that on my channel. The reason why is I have an agreement over the weekend with Gutex and the boys at Cross Counter TV. They will be airing all of our pools matches for Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I've also had pools match recorded for Marvel Infinite, for Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. I got a couple Dare Live matches. I have some custom Robo matches. So I was kind of helping Gutex out over the weekend, as well as bringing you guys the best Cross Tekken action I possibly can. At CEO, it was his first appearance in several years. I think 2013, maybe 2014 might have been the last one. But either way, it was definitely a treat to have you on board, Steve. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a bunch of casual matches I got recorded. I know we had a pretty long set where I ranted about how great you walked backwards. I kind of envy you for that because that's a really good skill to have.
Thanks.
Let me turn the volume down and see why it's not showing up. Hold on just a moment. There we go. Okay, let me turn this down so I'm blowing the gears out with the raw footage. There we go. Alright, so Steve, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be asking you some questions. And if the chat has any, if anybody shows up, I know sometimes it's kind of hit or miss. But if someone does, we'll throw that in the chat. But I kind of want to learn a bit more about you, Steve, because like I told you, it's rare that these days I get kind of like put on blast like you did when we were playing. I had to like go to a main team and really push myself to not just get crouching medium kick and crouching medium punched all day. And what I also liked is how well you kind of did your tick throwing. So I want to learn a bit more about you. Because I have you on Twitter. Like I remember seeing your name for a long time. And as I did say, it was great to finally play you. Because I know you've been on my Twitter for a while, and it was great to see what you had. So thank you again, Steve, for joining the tournament.
Sure. My pleasure.
So I did notice when we were calling pools and things like that, that you were playing a lot of the old head games, Super Turbo, and you did mention you play a pretty mean Cue Ball Vega.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume you've been doing this for a while with other games. Like, I've been playing fighting games, like, almost as long as I can remember, but my first competitive game was Dark Resurrection, mostly because my parents weren't in the house. Like, I was in college by that point. I could finally go out and do stuff other than just marching band all day. Because I've been playing things like CVS2 or, like, emulated stuff for a long time. It's just, I had a chance to go out and meet people. So, I want to hear a bit more about you, Steve, and what brought you to, the dance that ultimately led to your gold medal at CEO on a Red Bull stage.
Sure. Well, I played a lot of World Warrior on Super Nintendo. I played that for hours and hours and hours and hours when I was younger. Guile mostly. And the whole deal with fighting games, my brothers didn't want to play with me, my neighbors didn't want to play with me because I was just like too good.
Oh,
man. They just get angry and stop playing. So, we kind of moved on to different stuff like GoldenEye and what was that one, Perfect Dark? Is that like the sequel to GoldenEye?
Yeah, it was the other rare shooter. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I was, and then I started playing those games and then same deal. They get mad, stop playing. So then when I was 16, my parents finally got the internet and I started playing shooters. So I played like Star Siege Tribes and Battlefield, and the cheating on those shooters was just like so crazy I couldn't take it anymore. So I just stopped playing video games. Like in college and graduate school, I stopped. And then when I was done with graduate school and I was working, I basically moved to a place I had didn't know a single person there. Just basically was like fresh out of grad school, not making a lot of money. So I just spent a lot of time on YouTube. And then that's when I found, what was it, Cross Counter TV, The Excellent Adventures. And that's what got me back into fighting games, was watching that. And just started going to tournaments, getting wrecked, playing Street Fighter 4. And then Cross Tekken came out. I wasn't very good at that game either. And I didn't start getting like decent at fighting games until Injustice 1 came out, and that's when I actually finally met people locally to play with,
Yeah,
so
I gotcha.
Yeah, so they were better, so I needed to like level up, and we'd like level up together. And I was doing kind of good at fighting games, and then a couple of years down the road, I got sick, so I had to stop going to tournaments. So it was really weird. I got like epilepsy diagnosis when I was like 31, so I had to stop driving, so I couldn't go to tournaments anymore. But I eventually got my license back and and started driving again. And then I started going to tournaments again, and that was kind of with I tried the Mortal Kombat NRS stuff, but it's just so hard to play those games when they constantly change everything, especially when like you're married and you have a full-time job, and it's like I remember in Mortal Kombat 11 spending a month learning to play Cyrax, and then they patched him and changed everything about the character. So it's like a month of my life just wasted. I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And then Cross Tekken was just something that was always around. A lot of my friends from Port St. Lucie, which is like an hour and a half south from where I live, play Cross Tekken, and we'd play that game for hours. We'd just play doubles. I remember we did like a first to 40, like doubles Cross Tekken. Like that's how much we enjoy the game. And you know, I started playing Tekken 7, and that kind of like changed my whole mindset of how you approach fighting games. I started getting better results after playing Tekken 7 because it's like, okay, it used to be I'm going to play one character and I'm just going to stick to that character and just grind with that character for like 3 or 4 years. That really didn't get me anywhere. So when I was playing Tekken 7, it's like, okay, I need to play multiple characters to learn how they work in order to know how to fight them. And then I started seeing like better results in locals and regionals and stuff like that. And then once you kind of like get over that hump of like understanding what's going on, then your focus kind of changes to strategy instead of like when you fight a character you have no idea how to play. It's like you're kind of lost. But after I got to that point where it's like, okay, I'm learning all these characters, I know how they work, then like my strategy, thinking about strategy overall kind of evolved, and that reflects in results. So it's like just the Tekken 7 and Super Turbo and Cross Tekken and just grinding out those games. Those are the games I enjoy the most. But it started with World Warrior and Super Nintendo.
That is a fascinating journey from start to finish. Like, you seriously gotta, like, after we're done talking, if you need some help, I'll help you out. You gotta write down, like, all the in-betweens. Like, I have a similar story. Like, I didn't really stop playing, per se. Like you, I got into it through, World War. Unfortunately, I wasn't as fortunate. I didn't have a Super Nintendo growing up. I had to do with the DOS port. Growing up, where we could throw fireballs by pressing F10 and do shurikens by pressing F9. Because you couldn't do, like, core circle forwards on your keyboard because the game didn't allow it.
Wow.
But one game, believe it or not, probably the one game I went really hard on as well was Power Rangers for Game Gear. Now, that game actually had, like, proper neutral and, like, run, stop, tech, and quarter circle forward motions. Like, I remember, talking about Power Rangers, the Game Gear game in, like, first grade. I was talking about how Dragon Zord Fighting Mode had a literal Dragon Punch. Like, he straight up did a Shuriken 3-hit. And I was talking about, like, tech and things like that. And, obviously, as I got older, emulation became a thing. I was lucky that my parents got me a PS2 as I got older, and I can kind of backtrack and stay current things like CVS2, as well as the emulation stuff, the alpha games, and things of that nature. And, of course, I did love the old Marvel games. I was so happy when the old Marvel director came back for Infinite, but we all know how that game, unfortunately, rather, that scene turned out. I love Marvel Infinite, but I would like it if it was bigger than it was. But that's the way things go sometimes.
Got the cross-tekken treatment.
Like you, it's like you. For me, it's a passion project. I'm not married, but I do a full-time job. I work as a board-certified behavior analyst. For me, I told myself once I'm done with grad school, I'm gonna start going to tournaments. Like I always wanted to, but I focused on my studies. I didn't really drop fighting games per se, because keep in mind, when I was a senior, Street Fighter 4 had just dropped. So it was like, on my way out, the FGC is now getting really big. Before I was just that one guy who had CVS2 and Neo Geo Battle Coliseum in the dorms that no one else played. But then Street Fighter 4 came out. I was a huge Tekken DR. Like Tekken DR, like you, Tekken really taught me how to play fighting games at a high level. Like I'd been dabbling like CVS2 and things like that and Third Strike. But once I got heavy into DR, like I saw the results just like click instantly. Because like you, I had to learn other characters. Like I'm always loved Heihachi. He is like one of my ultimate favorite video game characters just for his personality and story up until the mess of Tekken 7 that ruined everything about him. But like you, I picked
I
up.
like Heihachi in Tekken 7. I think he's fun to play in that game.
I mean like playstyle wise, he's always great. Just like how they wrecked his story, unfortunately.
Oh, how he got... Oh, spoilers. He got thrown into a volcano.
That wasn't the problem. My problem was they changed the whole modes of him throwing Kazuya off, and they made it just sound like a complete neurotic, myopic asshole instead of like doing it for your own good type asshole. Before it was like, I'm doing it for your own good, Kazuya. Now it's just like, well, if he survives, you know he has it. And I was like, then why did you kill him in the first place if you're worried about that, given what Cosme did to you? It was such a stupid story. And basically, because I'm also a big lore head, by the way. Like, you've seen...
Oh.
I showed you my strategy guide while we were there, right? The dossier?
Yeah.
And the cover was like two like guys you would only know if you followed the lore for each game really closely, Togo and Blade. So I was disappointed when they changed so many things in Tekken 7 and just said, spoiler, Akuma ruins everything.
I played the story, Tekken 7 story didn't make a lot of sense. I still played it.
I hated it. I was so mad. Because, again, like I'm a big lore head, and it basically said everything you've known about the past, like 20 or so years been following this game, just forget about it. Akuma just destroyed everything. So I was pretty pissed off. But either way, it's neither here nor there. Like you, I learned other characters, Lee, Armor King, Wong Jinrei. Wong is amazing, by the way, in Tekken DR. I love that character. Marduk, I was a really big Marduk player. I'm still a Marduk player. I'm really glad he's back in Tekken 7. I've been playing Tekken 7 more thanks to Marduk being back. And he is definitely a lot of fun.
I think I lost you.
Yeah. But, yeah, and from there, I started getting really good as I eventually learned what I call, like you think about games fundamentally. I learned that early on because Tekken DR is a game that's just so fast and, like, so movement-heavy. Like, it's not... The movement, it's actually faster than 7 just because everyone has, like, the same walk speed and Korean backdash speed. So, like, Mark can be zipping around just as fast as Zhao Yu. Which makes it a lot of fun. Like, I like DR the best, a little bit more than 7. Nothing against 7. 7's fantastic and deserves all the praise it gets. But I just like how easy it was to do stuff in DR, like, but not in a way that, like, insulted you. Like,
I don't like that. I wish I played King in Tekken 7, and I wish he had a better sidestep walk speed in that game.
You'll love DR King because everyone has the exact same side walk speed, pretty much.
Yeah.
The only thing I have to worry about is, like, Mishima's wave dash, because Mishima can still wave dash, and they're, like, incredibly fast doing so. Like, faster than 7, but, like I said, DR is a game where everyone could do stuff easily, so it's easy for me to kind of pick people up and just, like, get the gist of it. Like, I think by the time I finally dropped it, the only characters I hadn't really learned were Zhao Yu and Asuka, and I think I was having trouble with Hwoarang, but other than that, I was, like, kind of, like, getting towards Byakuya by the time I finally dropped it. But, yeah. Like you, I learned, like, the fundamentals and just, like, think about games critically. And I think because of that, when I had my first big tournament, it was a big mystery game tournament in Cincinnati called Old School Onslaught. And my very first tournament, I also have, like, anime cons, where I've been, like, hustling people for the last 4 years when I was in college. Like, that was my first... Sorry about that. That was my first actual fighting game devoted tournament. I got third out of, like, 40 people my very first time.
I got wrecked. Every tournament I went to for the first couple of years, I got wrecked. That's okay, though.
Yeah, like, for me... Like I said, I've gotten wrecked before... but I guess for me it was fortunate that I just had that easy opening. I remember when I first got back to Richmond, I just finished grad school. I was trying to find a job back home in my hometown in Richmond. I've been in West Virginia the past 6 years at Marshall getting my programs done as at the time, a special ed teacher. Working with kids with autism, ADHD, things like that. So
cool.
I get back to Richmond, and my very first tournament... It's for King of Fighters 13. Like, at this point, Cross Tekken's on the way, and I'm, like, buzzing. Because I've already gotten bored of Street Fighter 4. It's been, like, 3 years at that point. And I didn't like Marvel 3 that much. So I was, like, playing things like Third Strike. I didn't like Tekken 6 that much either. So, like, it's just... DR was just so good, it's just an act you couldn't really follow. It took Tekken 7 to finally, like, really get back to what made Tekken great. Because it was kind of going out the weird way from there on in. But either way, King of Fighters 13, I get third and at the first local, and I don't do so well the next one. I get mad, but like I said, I'm not. Maybe I should have gotten the lessons earlier on than I did. But I remember there was another major. I ran into some friends from school, and I was kind of showing off for them because I hadn't seen them in like 10 years. And I'm showing off for them from the TO. I'm like playing Soul Calibur 5 at the time, just using Soul Calibur 2 fundamentals of Astaroth, and I'm just ringing out people, running into them with like forward with like 6K, just again. They weren't doing anything, and another guy is talking trash about me. He steps up and gets by just as quick. And I hear them matching on their stick angrily, second time in a row. And at this point, they're like disrespecting me. So I'm like banging my head like a metal concert when they're starting matching their stick. And from there, my scene really started hating me. Like basically, the story you had with your friends growing up not wanting to play you. That's me, that was me and my locals for like 6 years until those TOs finally like moved on to other cities.
Dang.
But like
I remember playing Injustice when Deathstroke was like a real pain in everyone's butt. I made a couple people like mid tournament. They just stopped playing the match mid tournament. Just got up and just walked away. There's like it wasn't even they lose the first match and just get up and walk away. And I was like, damn, that happened a couple times, 3 times in a tournament. I did that. They're salty people. That's kind of funny.
Oh, so I'll get to the Injustice story later. But yeah, like for me, it was like I think I was told I wasn't welcome back after like my 7th month there, because I guess I kind of was a little bit loud, which I was. I mean, I still am loud. You've seen me, and you know like how buzzed I get when I play the games I love. But yeah, I mean at first I was like apprehensive, like man, did I really go too hard and stuff? And I was like kind of apologetic. But over time, I just learned they weren't ever going to forgive me, so I just said, you know what, F you. If you want to kick me out, gotta bring a warrant or something like that. In the meantime, I'll just play my games. Don't bother me. So,
dang.
Some of them did test me. Like I actually got into a fist fight a couple years ago with another guy, or almost did. But we'll talk about that as we move forward.
Apparently, that's very common nowadays in the FGC.
Oh, especially for like games that are niche. Like I've noticed this, and we'll get to that in a second. But my first like horrible doxing came at Final Round 16, like my first big Cross Tekken major. Because this one I actually had aspirations to do better with, because I had been working with the IRC at the time, and I had to draw Mr. Electric and Lud in my first matches, and it did not go very well. I was pretty mad.
Happens.
But I did promise myself this is the last time going 0-2 in Cross Tekken ever again. And I think...
that's the motivation.
So
that's the motivation going 0-2. It's like, okay, now I gotta really dig in.
And I did, like, I switched from Sagat to Bison. I still play Sagat a little bit from time to time, but now I'm realizing that my playstyle wasn't, I was trying to force something that wasn't existing, because the patch, like, and after the vanilla patch, Scott did whatever he wanted, just, like, mash buttons or throw fire, do whatever he wanted, or just do, like, free DPs, but once the patch came, I realized I can't keep doing this, and I need something a little bit more fundamental to really get by with me, and I picked Bison at the suggestion of Ice. And from there, it became my calling card. So it's funny how things work out, always be flexible.
Yeah, that's a problem I run into a lot in games. I want to play a certain style, but the character I want to play doesn't really, that style doesn't really work with the character I want to play.
So
that's a problem I run into a lot in games.
I'm a firm believer that the character picks you. Like,
see, I'm like, I have like a nostalgia problem, like, I picked King because I liked King when I was like 10 years old, and I picked Vega because I liked Vega when I was like 8 years old. You know what I mean?
I got you. I was a Ken guy back when I was a little kid just because he wore purple. And now I'm like more of a Ryu guy these days, because now Ryu wears purple too more often than Ken does.
Go figure. You could pretty much, he gets a million costumes nowadays. You don't get good balance changes, you just get a million Ryu costumes. So you get every color.
Well, apparently my buddy Jaco is playing to win the Ratio Marvel tournament with Ryu and Ghost Rider. So I guess if he win... It'd be funny if he won EVO in the game that everyone just wrote him off on, more so than 5. That'd be like the most appropriate Ryu thing you could possibly think of. But we'll see what happens. I'm hoping he does good. But yeah, like, sometimes the character picks you, like, for example, when Street Fighter 4 came out, I played, keep in mind, this is the first time I'm really getting, like, heavy, like, Street Fighter competitively, just because there was kind of hard to find FGC up until that point. Just playing anime conventions, hoping someone brought up PlayStation. Like, one time, the biggest fighting game at AnimeCon was in, like, I think, sophomore year, was King of Fighters 2006, just because I was the only guy who brought a fighting game. It was that or, like, the Naruto GameCube game. And I was like, this is not good. But better than nothing, I guess. That or Tekken 5.0, which is a very... like, Tekken 5.0 is extremely broken, so, if you want to look up some funny footage, you can, like, YouTube, like, old Tekken 5.0 footage and see, like, Steve Infinite or Nina just being even more dumb than she is in Cross Tekken and all those things.
I like watching the main man. He does a bunch of old Tekken videos, and he shows you everything that was, like, broken, and, like, Tekken 4 Jin and Tekken 5 Steve and all that stuff. It's pretty funny to watch.
I'm still
I couldn't
blown...
imagine...
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine losing in a tournament, like, for money to a Steve Infinite in Tekken 5. I would be so mad.
So what's funny about you mentioning that is, like, I was a big addict of Tekken Zaibatsu back in the mid-2000s, like when Tekken 5 came out, because I was about ready to go to college, and I knew this is going to be my jam because Street Fighter 4 is never going to happen. Like, I convinced myself it's never happening, all the guys have left the company, and from now on I'm a Tekken guy until I'm shown otherwise. And I was I played Tekken Tag, I had it for PS2, but I didn't really, like, play it heavily, at least not, like, heavily enough like I did 5. Like, 5 was like my coming back party, because I accepted we're never going to get Street Fighter 4. It's just not happening. Funny how that turned out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, well, I wasn't... at that time, I was playing shooters instead of fighters, so I wasn't even like, oh, man, when's Street Fighter 4 coming out? You know what I mean? I didn't even play... I've never played Third Strike at that time. I played 4 before I played Third Strike.
Well, because at the time, because I was a big, like, lore head, because like you, I got into Street Fighter back when I was really young, but I became, like, obsessed with it over time, just like the lore, the artwork, the pretty colors, the characters looking cool, things like that. I mean, look now we have Power Rangers versus Street Fighter. Could you imagine that? Back in the day?
Well, you know what? The fighting games is just a weird genre, because it comes and goes, it comes and goes. It reminds me of a really bad fighting game I used to play. You ever played Biofreaks on Nintendo 64?
I've heard of it, but I did not play it. I think at the time I was just playing, like, Smash on Nintendo 64.
Yeah,
or the arena mode of Donkey Kong. That was a fun one.
That's the junk I was playing. I was playing Biofreaks instead of Third Strike and CBS2, because I didn't know any better.
Yeah, like, for me, like, I'm trying to think. For me, I guess I've always had, like, a taste, because I was fortunate to go to summer camps where people had, like, Neo Geo Pocket Colors and tell me about these things. Like, and I think I mentioned to you, like, for me, my intro to Samurai Shodown was my intro to, like, Japanese historical culture, because my laundromat had the game. And I remember going to, like, the mall with my mom and dad. I'm seeing those bootleg Hawaiian shirts of Hawamaru, and I'm like, hey, it's the guy from the laundromat. And that's how I got into that game. So it's funny how things, like, kind of turn around and come back to it. Because, like I told you, your story's very interesting. Like, for me, I picked up Cross really heavily because, like, work was just... I was living in, like, rural Virginia at the time, and I was threatened with a gun by a student. My supervisor yelled at me in front of students all the time. Very demotivating, very belittling. Lots of unpleasant vibes. But, yeah, and Street Fighter Cross Tekken, because what else am I going to do in a rural town? Go to a hootenanny on Friday night? So I just played Cross Tekken when I got home, and eventually became just my release from the rigors of working in the very stressful field. I work with, like, emotionally disturbed children, emotionally disturbed adults, teenagers, kids of autism, severe autism, nonverbal, kicked out of their schools, etc., etc. One time I had a crypt as a student, but he was kind of a jackass, so that guy can just sod right off. But anyway, I mean, all those adventures really, I just played Cross Tekken to kind of, like, not get blown away by it and keep focused, which was my goal, which was to help these people, regardless of what they said to me or did to me. I've been stabbed in the face, shoved through a door, I've had to deal with riots, crack busts, people stripping in front of me. I mean, it's been wild, but Cross Tekken was, again, my constant, and that's why when EVO happened, when I beat Esta and Punko and all those guys, it was so gratifying to, like, finally realize, like, now I'm a clinical supervisor. I have my board of medicine license, and I just kept thinking about like my scene telling me I'm not good enough, my coworkers telling me I'm not good enough, all the people who have blocked me and told me I'm a cancer to the FGC, a cancer to my workplace, and so on and so forth. And now I'm a leader in my community, both in the psychological medical field and here too.
I try not to sweat the. It's hard to not let the negativity get to you. You just try not to sweat it. I remember before I got married, before I moved in with my wife, I used to come home and play fighting games all day after work. It's like pretty much all I do is just hop online and play Street Fighter 4, which is a terrible way to get better at fighting games, is just playing online constantly. That works for some people, but that does not work for me.
I can't
Um,
I can't binge. Like I've tried binging Cross Tekken. I did it once after final round when Cool Kid won, but it's like I can't keep it up or because you get mentally fatigued and eventually you start like going like on autopilot.
yeah, when I was in college, I used to play the trumpet, and my instructor told me, because you'd grind out a piece of music. I almost called it a song, and my instructor would yell at me and say, "They're not songs. There's no lyrics. It's a piece." So you grind this piece of music for like 2 or 3 months, and you're just like so done, tired of doing it, fatigued playing it, mentally drained trying to play it perfectly. And he's just like, you know what, just let it sit for a month or let it sit for 2 or 3 weeks, and then come back to it, and you'll play it even better. And that's kind of like the same approach to fighting games. Like I haven't touched Tekken 7 since CEO. It's been 2 weeks. I'm going to my local tomorrow, so it'll be my first time playing it in 2 weeks. But it's like you gotta, if you keep grinding it, you're just gonna make yourself crazy and hate the game. You gotta set it down and kind of reflect on it a little bit, so you don't, just you can't make it like a job.
Yeah, like for me, like I did look at. I got very. I think this is I came to the same conclusion you came to, just because my actual life was not the best at the time. Based, I mean, what I told you, obviously, my job was very stressful. I mean, I knew I had to do it. I mean, wasn't going to get licensed if I didn't have those credentials, but. At the same time, just getting yelled at by everybody, my scene, my coworkers, students who tried to attack me, and just etc. etc. Like, game was my only outlet, and like you, because it was my only outlet other than like the gym, I took it very, very seriously because that game had been my constant. But like you, and this advice I actually got from another friend of mine, I just had to basically stop giving an F. And once I kind of like looked at the game a little bit more playfully, just video games in general, like I would like sing, I would hum, or I would like make jokes about the stupid stuff I was doing and commentate my own matches while I'm playing. And from there, like I started winning a lot more, even in games I didn't play that much, like Street Fighter Five. In season two, I was like the number three guy in my Rambat, and I got second, like the biggest local we had for the game, just by like singing and like kind of taking it easy, even though I hadn't really played in a few months. Because like you, I came to the conclusion that I'm just I can't let it consume me. I have to realize that there's a reason why I'm doing this, and there's a mindset you have to be in. And once I realized that, just everything started. When I started winning Cross Tekken, Street Fighter Five, Soul Calibur, I was just like doing so well in everything in that span of time. When, like you said, you realized what mindset you had to be in. And
Well, but the whole deal with fighting games is, there's a point in time where, or even when you play fighting games, the weird thing about it is you could guess right every single time. Yeah, or you know what? Not even that. I shouldn't say guess right. You could play as efficiently as possible, and like based on the percentages, like this is the best thing to do in this situation. You know what I mean? Like this is the safe jump I should do. This is the setup I should do. This is the most optimal thing I could do, and you could play the most optimal and efficient way as possible and still lose just by someone who just like is guess is better than you. So I mean, it's you can't really um, beat yourself up over fighting games, or let it drag you down, because there's always someone who's going to be better than you, and there's always going to be someone that will just outguess you. Even if you're even when you're at the same level of skill, you could still get outguessed. And it's just like you know there's worse things that can happen to you than losing, a fighting game
Oh,
match.
so
And,
I think that's why I started like advancing as quickly as I did. After I started taking like the most stressful job I could get, which was like working at juvie school for 2 years for like the super mostly disturbed and things like that in Richmond, where all the kids from like the bad neighborhoods and stuff went. Again, nothing against them. It's just that's just what the school reputation was at the time.
yeah, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, but the fact that once I got there, my wins just started piling up in other games. I think because I realized like nothing really shocked me anymore, got me upset because what's this compared to being stabbed in the face or having to chase down a guy who's rolling across the street in a desk chair or something like that. Two of which have actually happened to me in real life. One time I had a young man who threw his colostomy bag at somebody else. Like that was one of my students, and I had to like handle that. A colostomy bag. I had the stripper girl, the riot, the guy who brought crack to school. I think he was the Crip I was telling you about. He also started the riot because apparently his gang messed up another student's family from upstairs. To be honest, I hope the family got some good shots. He was kind of a jerk to me, so go figure. But anyway, if you're watching this, by the way, you should have been nicer to me. If you are somehow watching this, whoever I'm talking about. But anyway, or the one time I had a student whose pants fell down going to from place to place, and I had to deal with it. Just all the insanity of my day just made me realize how insignificant eating a mix-up was. And I think that's why I'm so calm now when I play, or at least like jokingly yelling when I'm playing. I don't get like really blown up anymore in anything. Like unless I'm playing online, but at the same time, it's just, that's a like you said, it's a different mindset online than it is like playing offline.
Well, I mean, there's still times when you play online and you just get pissed off because things just don't go your way. That still happens from time to time. It's like,
Yeah,
why this should work? Why isn't this working? But
usually
no,
yeah.
I get what you're saying. I remember I was playing at a local and I was playing against Do in Street Fighter 4, and he had asked me because we were playing. It was on stream at the local, but he'd asked me after the match because why aren't you nervous? Because it was like close. It was close. Um, when we were playing, and he asked me why didn't you get nervous? And I my occupation, I work as an attorney, and the shit that I deal with is like infinitely more stressful, and the stakes are infinitely more high. That it's just like this is not the toughest thing I've had to deal with this week. You know what I mean? Playing him in Street Fighter, this is like it should be an enjoyable experience. It shouldn't be something that I'm like making myself crazy over.
So first off, one, I'm also a music guy. I played percussion, marimba, like mouth percussion when I was in college. So I feel
That
exactly that analogy
helps
you had earlier. And
in
two,
fighting games. It helps a lot.
yeah, and two, what kind of attorney are you? Just if you don't mind me asking.
Um, I do a lot of bankruptcy work, and I do a lot of I used to do a lot of labor and employment cases, and then the firm expanded, and I changed kind of practice areas. So now I do a lot of personal injury and immigration. On top of that, I still do a lot of bankruptcy, but labor and employment I don't do as much. But it's mostly immigration, bankruptcy, and personal injury at this point. And the rigors of like overseeing people and making sure they're doing their job and all that crap that goes along with it. So yeah, that's
It sounds
if
it it
if
sounds
the,
like
if anyone out there is thinking of going to law school, I tell you go to med school or be an engineer instead. It's easier, and you'll probably make more money.
you do but so you do great work. You fight for the downtrodden and the oppressed of the masses. Great work to you, sir. And yes,
That's
I do know the
you.
struggles of law school. I do it myself, but I have heard from other people that like what I do for a living is like comparable amounts of stress.
Yeah,
To just working like behavioral health as a clinical supervisor. But as you said, again, I am so fascinated by your journey and how you got from point A to point B. How fighting games just somehow found you again after some time off. Um, and you're
Yeah,
and I think I not think I know that you're a again, like, I love talking to you. Like, I'm just so amazed that you have this story, that you have this wonderful career. Like, I just like the work you do and just all the rigors that come with it. And I think that's why it's no surprise that we resonate so well playing each other and watching you play, and just the way you broke down things, that you had that mentality. Because like me, you went through a lot of rigors and you realize there has to be a certain mentality to really do well, which is to basically just tell yourself it could be worse. Like, I remember, I'm sure you have a story like this as well, just based on what you're telling me about the games you play and what your friends said. So I was playing Punko, Evo 2017. It was right before the doors opened. We were in the lobby, and I was playing him in Cross Tekken because I asked, "You want to play?" And he said, "Sure." He picked Kazuya Nina and then Ryu Kazuya. And I knew that was good because I knew I had to face Esta, and I'm going to have to deal with Esta's Ryu King. So it's also pretty cool I faced your King again at CEO. Even if it wasn't tournament, but at the same time, I do feel I learned a lot playing you. So thank you again.
thank you.
But, so I was playing Punko, and the first Kazuya Nina, I won 5-0, just, like, effortlessly. So then he goes, like, Ryu Kazuya. I'm like, alright, this is the top dollar. And it gets up to 8-0, and he suddenly tears his jacket off, as he's known to do, taking his clothes off. Now, I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm thinking to myself, that doesn't scare me. I mean, after the stripper girl I had to deal with for 3 months at the juvie school, that's just my daily routine at that point. So I just dunk on him harder. I mean, now it's 10-1 me. And now he's shoving the table we're playing on. It's this big, heavy hexagon. He just shoved like it's nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, uh-oh, I don't have my radio on me. Am I going to have to Tova this dude? Tova's the name of our restraint training when we worked at the juvie school. He was acting like one of my clients, pretty much. And it just put things in perspective that, nothing against Punko, it's just I know that the shirt tearing off is like his mind game, but the fact that I had to deal with that daily with my clients for 3 months straight, and it was just like dealing with that, and it put things, like you said, it put things in perspective. You realize
I played him in Street Fighter 4, but I couldn't beat him. He was a CEO last year. He was on the cabinet, and I was on the cabinet. I couldn't beat him. I tried like 3 or 4 times. He was too good.
Was he playing
too good?
Seth?
Yeah, no, he would counterpick me. It was kind of funny. So when I picked Rufus, he would pick Seth, and when I picked Vega, he'd pick El Fuerte because Vega has an unblockable on Seth. So he wouldn't play as Seth against my Vega. He'd counterpick me every single time, but. It was fun. I thought it was fun to play him. It was cool because me and my wife were watching The Amazing Race, and he was on The Amazing Race. One of the challenges was you had to beat Punko in Street Fighter V to like move on on this reality TV show. And I was like, oh, I played that guy in Street Fighter before. My wife was like, really? You know who all these people were? And I was like, oh yeah, we've run into them. There was like I saw Infiltration. He didn't play in the episode of Amazing Race, but I saw him in the background, and Punko was one of the players that the contestants on the show had to beat. I don't know if you ever watched Amazing Race. They make them do like these challenges, and so they were running through Korea. It's like, okay, before you go to the airport, you have to beat Punko in Street Fighter 5. You have to beat him in like one match. You get infinite number of tries.
I don't watch Amazing Race, but I did not. But I do know what it is. I had no idea he was on it, and like you said, I think, and I tell other players this, like, because as you know, I work as like a psychology type field, and I want to use my experiences to, because both have had stories to tell, obviously, about where we've come from and the rigors we've endured in our respective careers. I want to use that as well as what I know about mental health, as well as my knowledge of me actually getting over the hump and experiencing success in this game. It might not be as big as it once was, but all the same, people I talk to definitely respect the fact that I faced Esta and emerged victorious, or I faced Punko, or Saban or whoever else I might face. Like last Summer Jam, I faced JB in Cross Tekken, and I didn't lose a single game that whole tournament. And then I faced Punk because JB told me he wanted Punk to face me to see who would win. Punk won, but it was fairly close. I was also very hungry. But the same.
Are you talking about the Street Fighter V player Punk?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
He annoys me because I used to play him online, and the matches would be close, and then he'd duck me. He did it to me in 5. He did it to me in 5, and he did it to me in 4.
He's still a youngin'. He'll learn. He's still a young guy.
That was kind of annoying. But, I mean, I'm not trying to hate on the guy. I'm just kind of like...
It's just that he's young. He's not over 30 like we are. He doesn't have the don't give a rip personality just yet. He's still in the I give too many rips stage.
Oh,
yeah.
You know, I don't know if when I was playing Tekken 7 at Street Fighter or at CEO, this is like the level of not caring that I'm at. And my friends thought it was like, it was a streamed match to get out of pools, and it was in losers, and the stream and the monitor that I was playing on cut out in the middle of the match, and I got killed as the screen was black.
Oh no!
And I was like, you know what? I was like, I don't care. I was gonna, because I only had like 5% health left. My friends were like, oh, go protest, replay the match. I'm like, I don't care. I was like, I was gonna lose anyway, so doesn't really matter that much to me. And they thought I was freaking nuts for not protesting it.
I'll say you were. I'll say you were too, but it was your decision. I'll just respect it. Like for me, like I'm always like, as you know, playing me. Like I just watched me play that Guile Paul a moment ago. How I totally stole a win that should have been yours through like some stupid empty jump or something like that. Sometimes you just play the last man, but again, like you had you had your reasons. So either way, so. For me,
it was going to interfere with the Cross Tekken tournament too. If I played on the next day, if I played in top 64, it was happening at the same time as Cross Tekken and Super Turbo, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to stress about it. I just want to, because I really enjoy Cross Tekken. I really enjoy Super Turbo.
And I'm just CEO.
Yeah, it was a CEO.
Oh yeah, then don't worry about it. He can take his fraudulent win. He'll know who won in the end because you got the medal. And did he win CEO? I don't think he did.
No.
Then there you go. You got first place medal CEO and he didn't. So in the end, you won anyway.
No, I don't know. He might have got first place in another game. I don't know. I wasn't following him. He was a nice guy though. He asked me. He's like, "Hey, we should replay that. You want to replay that?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm cool. I'm cool." You got me anyway.
Yeah, I like playing Punk as well. Like I didn't do as well as I would have liked. At the same time, I had every excuse. And being I just won Summer Jam the day before, I was hardly salty. I mean, I turned up when I had to. So
what does Punk play in Cross Tekken? I'm kind of curious.
He plays Jin Law. He tier horse.
Jin Law.
He tier horse.
Oh, yeah.
Team Tryhard 2.0.
Yeah, there's got I dabbled in Jin and Law a little bit. Just maybe spent like an hour just messing around with their combos, and it's like these characters are kind of neat, but I don't know. It just didn't vibe with me.
I got you.
I didn't have that connection, that spiritual connection, that you have to have.
I gotcha. So anyway, that happened, and either way, JB knew like I was like out of sorts, just given like the day I had before. I mean, that day, I got sick in the morning. Someone tried to fight me, a different person, over Jack X Hugo of all things. And I had to run a tournament. I had to find setups because all the ones that the venue provided me didn't work. And I still had to play. I mean, I wasn't playing into, but I was as I wanted to. I said, sure, why not? I'm not going to be able to play the rest of the weekend anyway. I just wound up winning the whole thing. But, yeah, so it happened. And I remember going to the GameStop across the street from my office on my lunch break. Because there was a guy there. There was a woman there, actually. Not a guy, it's a woman. A woman who was very interested in fighting games. And I see next to the controllers a picture of Punk shilling like these headphones. And that's when it really hit me, along with me and how I did against JB, who is now like a Street Fighter V god himself, go figure. I didn't know who he was up until that tournament. Because, like, everyone was saying, I know who JB is. I didn't know who he was because I didn't realize he was, like, the new kid in the block for Street Fighter V yet. To me, he was just, like, a really good Rufus player. He plays Rufus Paul, by the way.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I mean, Rufus in that game, Cross Tekken's. I mean, I see that the Homeless Dragon guy makes it work with Rufus, but I look at that character and I'm like, he's so weak compared to how he is in 4. His
Rufus is
dive
my
kicks.
demon in this game. Still, like Brenda's Cool plays. Brenda's Cool's been playing Cross Tekken again. We played a few months ago. Didn't really go so well for me. He actually made me kind of salty because he's rubbed my face that the game's been dead up until he came around. But I'm just gonna let him think what he wants to think. He is back, and I do appreciate him sticking around, not just waving his ego around too much. But either way, Rufus is still a good.
My friends.
Go on. Sorry about
It's
that.
not a dead game. No, I was gonna say it's not a dead game with me and my friends. We love Cross Tekken.
And that's all. That's all that matters in the end. Like I rep this game, one, because I love it, and two, just based on my adventure with the game, all the stuff I've been through. I feel like I got a depth to owe to it, which I do. Like, this game kept me from really getting like a really dark place in my life just because of how badly things were going at work. But from there, like, it became my one outlet, and the journey took me to great heights, which I'm really proud of. What is this? Hold on. Looks like this is the end of the video. Let's go to this one.
All right.
Hold on. I have another. There we go. So it took me to great heights, and from there I keep doing it because it's good release from work, and it just resonates with me. It just became my thing, and sometimes just go with what the game tells you to. Like, some games just like resonate with you in a way you didn't expect, and for me, this game just became it became like in my blood. Like, there are other games I like. Obviously, I'm a big Marvel Infinite fan. For like older games, I love Dark Resurrection, Soul Calibur 2. I love playing Third Strike when I can. CVS 2 is a lot of fun. Neo Geo Battle Coliseum, I love that game. I was really happy to see it CEO. But yeah, like for me, it's like, and I said this on the mic when I was offered to talk on the house mic before the Red Bull stage. I said this game never left. I've been running this game at EVO since 2014. This is the first time I won't be at EVO running Cross Tekken because CEO offered me stage time and EVO didn't. I've been trying to convince LPN to run Cross Tekken there. But either way, like, there's always been people playing Cross Tekken. It never went away. There's some games just actually did die and didn't really come back. But us, like, yeah, it's not like Eunice type numbers or Melee type Resurrection, but we still get a decent amount of people every year. Some new faces, some recurring faces. Obviously, Homeless Dragon, like we talked about.
You know, the thing about Cross Tekken, I wish it would be like Melee someday, where the game's like 15 years old, people still show up for it and love the game. The thing I like about Cross Tekken, this is the thing I like about Cross Tekken, Super Turbo, and just Tekken 7 in general, is the game doesn't really change. Well, Cross Tekken and Super Turbo are never going to change. They're always going to be the same. So you don't have to worry about buffs and nerfs and, learning new matchups and learning new characters. They're never going to change. They're always going to be the same. So that has a lot of appeal to me, because of my limited amount of free time to game. And Tekken's very similar, where the moves don't change all that often. The properties change a little bit on them, but the way they look, the way they sound, typically doesn't. This stays the same. So you can, once you, like, to give you an example, like Horang and Tekken is like so complicated.
Yeah.
But like once you learn what his moves look like and what transitions into what, it's like, okay, I could play against Horang in any Tekken. It's always gonna look, the same. So that's what I like about Cross Tekken, Super Turbo, just Tekken in general, is that you don't run into that NRS problem where you spend a month learning a character and then boom, he's totally different based on some people complaining online about it. You know what I mean? That's why I like those games a lot.
Yeah.
Plus the social aspect, like Cross Tekken is like some of my, and Tekken and Cross Tekken are some of my best friends I've made in the fighting game community. Just playing those games and just being social with them and hanging out, having a good time. That's why I like those games too.
Definitely, and again, I'm really happy that again I get to meet you and talk about, because I feel the same way. Like, obviously, my career is a situation as clinical supervisor. I can't really like grind like I used to like more modern games. But being playing Cross Tekken since the beginning and been so active since the beginning as a commentator. Like, I commentated the Capcom Cup online qualifiers. That was like my first big Cross Tekken gig. And then I commentated Final Round. I wound up running the game at EVO from 2014 until this year. And I won EVO 2017. Just figured it was time for me to take the next step as a player to figure out like why I'm still getting stuck. And like you, I came to the conclusion I'm just not in the right mentality. So what we did, so that happened. So yeah, like you, the fact that it's been with me so long, it does resonate with me, just like it does with you. Because the game, it doesn't change, which means now you can discover things and know it's not going to disappear the next month.
Yep. There's still things. There's still weird things about like Cross Tekken I don't know, because like relaunch combos. Like Vega has a relaunch combo. I didn't even know how to do it until after CEO because I looked it up because after that one play in grand finals where I didn't have enough meter to tag out. I was like, I wonder if he has a relaunch combo. I didn't even know. There's other weird stuff. Like I didn't know you could tag in on a launch and get like a higher arc on your combos. I didn't know that either. It's like some weird stuff about that game that's just like not out there. You see it in videos and I'm like, oh, you could do that? Like I didn't know you could cancel God, what is that? You can cancel those boost combos into EX moves. I didn't know that until like a year ago, and even though the game's been out for years, it's like weird stuff like that. You're still like figuring stuff out even years later because no one's exploring the game anymore.
No one but me.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the rest of the wonderful people in the Discord. So before anyone tells me for being a maniac, because we do have a Discord, like as you know, I've posted a few times. You do follow me on Twitter, so you know I posted the Discord link a few times.
Yep.
And we do have a lot of scientists, like Parapets, who was like the original scientist, is still talking about and playing it. He was showing me some Blanca tech that I didn't really have a chance to do because, again, you were kind of not really falling for the traps I needed to make it work. And you were anti-airing me really well, too, when I tried to do like the setup for with Blanca, jumping in, doing electricity into like a ball setup. So, kudos to you for not letting me use you like that, but yeah, like there's a lot of new things that we learn about it, and I'm always amazed like things I find in the lab sometimes. Like even just playing you, or when I was at CEO playing this really good player from Ireland, Cobblecog, learning some new things, and it made me a better player because of it. Because there's so much to learn, and there's so many possibilities you can do as long as you have like a strong enough neutral. Like, as long as your neutral's strong, like, you can kind of, like, explore anything you want in this game, which is why I love it. I said it on commentary. You can play this game any way you want, depending on your character and your team arrangement. You can play, like, a lame time-over style. You can rush people down. You can go for, like, big unga-bunga damage combos. You can just use fundamentals all day with, like, big normals. Play a zoning team if you wanted. So many different possibilities. Which is one reason to love this game. There's just no wrong way to play it. There's just ways to play the character incorrectly. But in terms of like play styles, anything goes.
Yeah, I like how the thing I like about Cross Tekken is you can play any character you want really, even a bad character, and as long as you have like another semi decent character to cover you on the back end, or just cover if you have a character that you like to play but he has bad neutral, you could just stick him in the back and have a stronger neutral character start. Or vice versa, you have like a mix-up character you like to play, but he has bad neutral, you stick him in the back. So you could basically play whoever you want. There's always another character there that you're going to like that's going to cover the weakness that other character has.
Like,
that's another thing.
Unfortunately, unless you're Balrog, then there are problems.
That's what I hear. I mean, I haven't played...
Well, to be fair, like, I don't use Balrog more than just, like, to press buttons with. I need to get more about actually playing Balrog properly. Because I picked him up as, like, kind of, like, learn the character for the first time. But, I say it's a joke, because like you said, Balrog is very good at neutral. His buttons are really good. It's just, sometimes he can get outfooted by guys like Vega. Like, that's the problem. Like, against, like, Vega or Bison, Balrog has problems. Anyone can press buttons better than he can. He has problems, but if it's, like, someone like King or Ryu or something like that, where the buttons aren't as high priority and far-reaching as those two, he does really well because he's like safe on everything, no matter what buttons he presses or what he ends his boost with.
I think people sleep on King's neutral. I think his far-standing light kick is so good, and people just sleep on that move.
Crouching
It's
light
like,
punch is fantastic for King, by the way.
I, you know, I always struggle when I get plus range with King. I don't know if I just want to do some jabs in that or forward forward two or forward medium punch. I always like, do I want to do jabs? Do I want to do forward medium punch to do the mix up? It's so hard. You have so many options with him to mix people up. It's hard to pick your favorite one.
I gotcha, and that's one thing that'll throw you off sometimes, but I agree with you, and so I like playing Balrog Mark to kind of test people, just because Balrog is just so fundamental, because of like his he can't really power through fireballs like he can Forge, because meter takes longer to build, so he has to kind of just walk and block most of the time and be careful where he jumps, being his jump's very shallow and doesn't reach very far. But
like Super Turbo Balrog.
yeah, but because he's just so fundamental, he's a good way to kind of test people out and see what they know, and then I put the Marduk mix on them. But yeah, as you said, there's no wrong way to play, and because of that, I think that's why I always learn something new whenever I play someone really good, such as you or Cobblecog or even LPN I was facing. And I'm just looking at this really lovely cross start thing you did to avoid the cross up crusher. But yeah, the fact that all that happens the way it does really promotes creativity, which is why I think this game can last a long time. It's still lasting today. It's not that big, but we do have dedicated players, people that you won't maybe see at tournaments, but I see new people all the time on PSN, on Xbox Live, all the time. People I didn't know still played. You can go on PS3 or Xbox 360 and still find people, lobbies at six people deep from different countries, different ranks. Good players, too. I'm always surprised, the quality of players I see just roaming lobbies sometime on PSN.
I have a hard time playing online. It's just I don't know. I guess I would just I don't know if my characters just suck online because they have so many tight links on their combos or whatever. But it's just hard. It's a struggle to play that team online. Vega King. It's just difficult for me anyway.
No, I understand. I can't really play well online either. It's just it's a mentality thing, and I don't blame you. But yeah. So, what else was I going to say? I had something else I wanted to add about Injustice if we have a little bit of time.
Sure, yeah.
I got a funny Injustice story. This is actually from when I worked at the juvie school.
Okay.
Okay, so I had been a teacher there for about a month. I just recently joined, and someone brought their 360. Someone brought Injustice. And he wasn't doing anything particularly stupid. He wasn't using the gun spam like he had back in the early days. This was unpatched Injustice, by the way, so it's version 1.0.
Oh, nice.
So all he did was forward heavy. The Jaguar kick overhead that Deathstroke has.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So he would just jump in on people because his jump was so fast, and as soon as in range, just use the overhead that causes the ground bounce over and over again. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you losing to this? And he said, well, you beat it. I said, okay. So I picked Bane, and I just basically used the bum rush over and over. Or if I'm feeling really spicy, I just use the Marduk air grab when he's jumping at me, and I splat him on the ground. You're
talking about, you're playing Grundy or Bane? Who are you playing?
Bane.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm playing Bane, just the bum rush. And he's raging out of control. Keep in mind, this is for school for the serious emotional difficulty types. So he's raging, tearing things apart, things of that nature. And the assistant pro comes in saying, what happened? I say, lost Injustice. I said, to who? To me. I said, I guess no more video game. They said, yeah, I guess not. So the next day it was. So it was the day, it was next day. He's at lunch. And he's apparently raging again because he smashed his calculator because he was mad at me from what happened the day before. And all heck is breaking loose. He has to leave the classroom. and I take the rest of my class to lunch, and he's in the principal's office. So I look outside about 10 minutes out again, like the mess hall. It's a big campus, by the way, so there's not going to be like much hiding. I look outside and I see him like marching around campus with the principal following him, and he comes in to like curse at me and things like that, and the principal takes him away. So I look outside, and next I see him in a desk chair rolling across campus, giving the middle finger up and down like Homer Simpson in the Simpsons movie, across campus in the desk chair with the principal. Just the principal, the assistant principal, and the program director all like walking after him. It looked like the cover of Abbey Road, the Beatles album. And that's what I know about Injustice. So I figured I'd tell you that aside.
Yeah.
Tell me some story. Tell me a funny, salty story. Because you mentioned your friends get mad at you for playing certain stuff. Do you got any other things that people kind of freak out at you about?
I mean, I remember playing Injustice at Tampa Never Sleeps, which is a tournament run in Tampa.
Yeah.
By this guy named Tong. I think you probably met him because
I was helping Tong run tournaments over the weekend with the cross-counter TV stuff.
Yeah, and so I was playing Jabali in Injustice, and he was playing. It was on that one level where you have the dumpster, right? So he thought he was gonna, he thought he was just gonna, run me over with Batman with the dumpster, and I got to the dumpster before him and just kept hitting him with it. And then he said something like we were playing at a bar and his wings came and he's like, "My wings are here, this game's dumb." And then he just got up and walked away, and that was the last time he ever played Injustice, as far as I know. That was a tournament match at TNS. So making people salty. I used to do like Microsoft tournaments and with Deathstroke, and I had two guys in the same tournament quit. Just like mid-match, just quit. Just like, all right, I'm not playing this. I'm not playing you anymore. Okay, all right, that's fine. Yeah, but that's like the saltiest I think I've ever made someone, which was Injustice. You get a lot of hate. You get a lot of hate mail in that game too, on Xbox Live. Oh my God, so much hate mail.
Do you follow? You should follow OBS. They rant about NRS salty stories all the time because the guy who runs it used to work for Midway, like a high role. Like he actually made the story for MK4, and he was like a champion of like the old MKs, and he beta tested a lot of them. It's insightful if you're a Mortal Kombat fan or an NRS fan, just because the guy who hosts it was so like deep in like the programming and the meta, and even as a champion, he did great stuff. All the great stuff. It's just a lot, very insightful. The salty, like I said, as you might have gathered, unfortunately, Saul kind of follows me around. I don't know if I'm starting it. Maybe I am. It's just when I get in the zone about games I love, I guess maybe I rub people the wrong way. But yeah, I mean, Summer Jam. Someone threatened me with curse words and violence when I beat him with Jack and Hugo. That was Summer Jam, and I was like hungry and tired, so I wasn't like in the mood to deal with it.
I've never had anyone threaten me over video games. I don't think that's ever happened to me.
I was told I was going to get lynched in the parking lot over Street Fighter V in 2017. But to be fair, like, that one had reason. Like, it had been building for months, just him not liking just being mean and silly. I just got tired of hearing just how disrespectful he was being to me. And I said, "Listen, man, knock it off." And after that, he just started taking swings at me, and I held him down. I mean, he throws hands like a client, so I was, like, used to it at that point. I didn't have to hurt him. But at the same time, it's unfortunate that the tempers blew over that way, and he still will not apologize to me. Like, I was told, like, don't expect an apology ever from this man. Just stay away from him because he is, like, he will hurt you if you push him too hard. And, like, fine. So...
Positivity breeds positivity.
Exactly.
That's how I feel about it.
And as you might have gathered, like, you playing me, like, I love playing video games. This is my release. This is, like, my only outlet I have to, like, really be a kid again, just because the way our lives lead, we have, like, one, we're busy. Two, we have like professional standards to uphold and blah blah blah. So yeah. So I actually had to fly next to him, coming back from Combo Breaker this year. And
That's funny.
I remember being a very tense trip. I did see on his phone, he was like, he glared at me and he was like posting like angry emotes on his phone. I guess he was texting his buddy or whatever. And he did not talk to me, he just avoided me. I had to put my AC adapter next to his foot because of the seat we had was the only with like AC adapters in, so I can plug my laptop in. And I was thinking to myself, this gets nasty. The air mark's going to be looking at us pretty weird. But, yeah, so it's funny how things work out. Like, those two were like the biggest ones. There was a little bit unpleasant at CEO, but nothing major. Just a guy being grouchy. Nothing major like those two. But yeah, but I tell people this, and I'll tell you this. Being that, given your mentality, I don't really have to tell you this, but I'll just mention it anyway for any of our viewers. I have a buddy of mine, and we'll wrap things up soon, because I think I'll only have one more video after this. It's facing Escobar, I think. But, what was I going to say? I remember. So, I have a buddy of mine. This is a recent discussion I had. He plays professional poker. I've known him since middle school. And so I'm looking at you neutral jumping his Vega over and over again. I'm laughing. He plays professional poker and apparently got blown up this week by a guy doing something called a slow roll. Do you play poker at all, Steve? Steve?
Oh, I couldn't hear you. It
Sorry.
broke out.
No
Yeah.
worries. Do you play poker?
Sometimes. Sometimes I do. You know, when I'm at casinos, I like playing blackjack because just the odds are just better.
Do you know
But
go on.
but I'll play poker with friends at at their house or whatever. And I used to do like that. You know, when Moneymaker won World Series of Poker and everyone was playing online poker, I did that for a couple months.
Do you
But
know
that's not the extent of it.
do you know what a slow roll is?
Not exactly. No. I mean, are you talking about like slow playing a hand? Is that what you
Yeah.
mean? Or yeah. Okay, I know what that is. Yeah.
Okay, so apparently my buddy was like extremely mad someone did that to him when he when a guy walked him off. And all of his other poker buddies, some of them world champions, this is what made me mad, were saying, "Oh, he's such a bully, to play with honor, don't let him get to your head." Meanwhile, me, being me, I tell my friend, "All right, did he win?" "Yes." "And were you mad when he did that?" "Yes." So I told him, "Why don't you try doing it? Because clearly it's making you visibly mad. It's making these guys visibly mad, these guys twice your age, some of the world champions who should know better than to get mad over something like that. Why don't you try it and see if you can kind of get in people's heads that way?" And I got yelled at by everybody in that whole thread. Like, former world champions were yelling at me about how there's no honor, and they said only one guy has done it, and that's the last year's champ. And then I replied, doesn't that prove my point? Doesn't that prove that it works if it's last year's champ?
Right.
He controls the meta, so why are you faulting him for basically playing the mind game? And
That's a really interesting point. Like in fighting games, the weird thing about, because you were talking to me about how you like to practice. You practice setups for hours, and then you want to win pretty, but you don't have to. You know what I mean? You can win doing as long as you're winning, you're winning. You know what I mean?
I remember playing JB at Summer Jam, and he was anti-airing me like consistently, all the time. And I think to myself, oh God, do I really have to play solid? I'm sick right now. I don't want to play solid. So I just kind of slowed the pace down to like more like your pace, just like walking backwards a lot and just kind of like keeping a safe zone until I had an idea what I was going to do. And it worked. I didn't lose a single game. Just doing that. And it's sometimes you just do what you have to do to work. And so when the top poker player in that chat was like berating me or something like that, I told him, I said, "Listen, brother." I told him, like, you got a ring, and I got a ring and stuff too. Street Fighter's not different from like playing cards, because you still got to put people on tilt and kind of test people to see what they're going to do and things like that. But I told him, like, as a world champion, you know darn well what time it is when you have to put your money on the line. And I told him, like, I'm disappointed in you in particular for misleading my friend because you're a champion. He respects your opinion, and you're misleading him like this. And he got mad at me, as he should have. I don't blame him because I'm calling him out. But, yeah, and I told my friend, I said, listen, the next time a guy slow rolls you, all you have to do is just go up and DX chop like it's Triple H or Shawn Michaels. If there's not a rule that says you can't stand up, just do it right in his face. Tell him you're not phased by it.
That's like my as long as I'm understanding as long as I'm understanding you correctly, the slow roll type thing you're talking about. Like if I get um a pair, if I'm dealt a pair and like Texas Hold'em, like a low pair,
Yeah.
and I flop a trip, I slow play that like, and I win those hands all the time. Slow playing that,
But
low trip
but I
or
was
low, three of a kind.
I was shocked that not only was he so upset by it, but that all these old men, some of them champions their own right, were justifying it. Maybe they had ulterior motives to like maybe hold my friend down. I doubt it, but you never can tell. These guys are like 50 and 60. My friend's like my age, 32, but he's already acting like an old man if he's caught up by the troll behavior like that. But yeah, and I think that's where a lot of players, not just in poker, but in fighting games, get this, and you see it in the courtroom as well. You see the guys. I'm taking it. You're typically the plaintiff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
typically
So you
yes.
see the defendants kind of like get uneasy as you kind of like bring the evidence forward and things like that.
It depends. I mean, a lot of when it gets that far, when you're in trial, usually the people are like so dead set on that they're right that they can't contemplate or envision a scenario where they lose. So like you're at that point like nothing phases them. So it's a little bit different. I think so, sometimes typically I'm the nervous one, especially when you're like waiting for a verdict. It's like, oh my god, it's like one of the worst, like, well, worst hour, 4 or 5 hours waiting for a jury to come back and tell you if you won or lost. That
Yeah.
sucks. It's horrible. But no, like when you're in trial, you're there. You're at a point where like both sides believe 100% that they're right. Both sides believe 100% that they're going to win. So I mean, it's just you're just kind of like dealing with, someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. Same thing with fighting games. There's going to be a winner, there's going to be a loser. But both of them 100% believe that they're, in the right. So
Yeah,
I mean
but
that's kind of how that works out.
can't you respect that unshakability? However, like whoever, like I said, no offense to whoever whoever you're defending or standing up for, or vice versa. But I can respect both sides for being so steadfast in knowing that this is the way to go and showing that conviction all the way through, even the results not right. Like
Well,
I can respect that.
sometimes people are like delude themselves into thinking that they're going to win even though they're not.
Oh yeah.
When that happens.
So do you? I'm gonna ask. The answer is probably no, but I feel I'll ask anyway. Have you ever dealt with
Sure.
Salt Storm in the courtroom?
Um. Uh. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I've had yelling, screaming, swearing. Judges do it. Sometimes attorneys do it. Well, I've never seen a judge swear at someone, but I've seen them yell and scream at people. I've seen lawyers do it, clients do it. Yeah, it's salty. It's, people, when people lose a case, like even lose a big case, there's like a lot of tears and heartache and all that, goes along with it. And salt. Yeah, there's a lot of salt. I remember, I lost a really hard fought trial this year, and my client was really upset. He didn't want to even talk to the other attorneys. They were all cordial and polite about the whole thing, but he didn't want to talk to them, shake their hands, nothing. He was so upset. I mean, rightfully so. That was just tough. But yeah, it's a very emotionally charged thing because what happens is going to impact these people for the rest of their lives. So yeah, there's definitely some salt when
I've
when stuff doesn't turn their way. There's definitely salt for sure.
All right. But yeah, going back to controlling your emotion, things like that. My boss
Mm-hmm.
tells me my emotions. My boss tells me my emotions control me. I don't like think that way because I don't think it's true. For me, I don't like hiding my emotions just because I see no reason to. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
if I show my emotions, that I have nothing to hide, and that way they can't blow me up because I know like what I'm not scared of you, so I'm not gonna even pretend like I'm not hyped up or mad and stuff because I know this is just the way it is. There's no point hiding it, and I have absolutely no reason to hide it from you. I don't know you that well. You don't pay my bills. Maybe you will if I beat you, but hey, go figure. But yeah, and it's one of those things because like I said about punk, it's one of those things you kind of learn as you get older how to like not so much modulate your emotions, but learn like how to master them. Not so much that you're always like chill and stuff, but when you do feel like the urge to like get hyped up, you can easily wave it off or use it to like empower you as well. It,
Mm, well, it's hard. I think everyone's controlled by their emotions.
yeah, which is
It's
why I
just
don't
a
like.
matter of how well you can hide it and how well you can kind of like take a breath and
Yeah, and
like, get it down.
you saw me kind of like take a breath, saying, "Okay, I've had my moment. Time to take a breath and restart." One player, Marble Infinite, does this all the time. A good at this point now, he's a pretty good friend of mine. His name is Tyson. He's a player who plays Gamora Ultron, and I see him on stage all the time, like taking deep breaths. I mean, every single time I see him like on stream, it looks like Goken's intro in Street Fighter 4, or no,
Yeah,
his outro where he like takes a deep breath after he wins a game.
it's like he's practicing meditation to try to calm himself down.
Yeah, and because I know he's very emotional. I've seen him. I first met him last Evo. He was on the big stage, and his boyfriend kissed him in front of everybody. Then he got bodied the next game, and that was the end of his run. And I was thinking to myself, this guy just got into his own head, um, because he got so overwhelmed by all the emotion that it just like he choked. But since then, he's gotten like he's winning all the time now. Like it's been a long time. Like he got second at CEO, but he's won a lot of other tournaments. He's considered like one of the best players in the world now, just because at this point he's kind of like masters emotions, or more importantly, he's learned that when he feels like that well of emotions, he knows not to be blown away by it. Now, you and I both know when we started out, like you know that adrenaline dump you feel where you suddenly get like cold all of a sudden.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
So
I don't get that with fighting games, but I get that like after like
it's
a
all about.
trial. Spend all day at a trial, you're all like hyped up, and then you're driving home and you just like crash.
Yeah,
I get that from work, but I don't get that from fighting games. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got it when because there was a time where I got like second or third place every tournament for like 4 years running, and I was at the point where it was like, what is going on here? Why does this keep happening? Because clearly, if I'm getting this high all the time, eventually I gotta break through. But until I figure out why this keeps
Maybe
happening, I'm
you
not
do,
going
maybe
to.
you don't. There could always be that one tournament demon that always stops you at wherever you.
It's different people each time.
Oh,
So I had that adrenaline dump each time I got close, where like my hands got shaky and like my nerves felt weird and things like that. And one year, this was again EVO 2017. I will cite this. Like I'll tell you this. This is probably the best moment of my life when this happened. I was facing Esta in the tournament, and this was probably would have been decided the whole thing just because we were the guys with the most points in the round robin at the time.
mm-hmm.
And I had him. We were both on match point. It was a third game. We both had a round on. This was the deciding round, and I had him on the ropes, and I felt that adrenaline dump. After I hit him with something like an air crush move, I had like a moment to use like a Heihachi smackdown to kind of finish the combo after the air crush. So what I did is and I told someone else as a CEO. Did you watch wrestling at all when you were younger?
Yeah.
You know how Ultimate Warrior had like the whole snorting thing going on?
I didn't watch it with when Ultimate Warrior was on.
So he's known for like going like that because he's a
Okay,
hyperactive nut job. So I
that
actually
I
took
know.
like
Yeah.
I took a deep snort like to like reset my emotions because I felt that dump coming. I said, I don't stop it now. This dump's gonna take me over, and I went like, and the whole dump just like stopped all of a sudden. I could focus again. Thankfully, I did it when I had like control of neutral hard knockdown rather than in the middle of neutral. But yeah, I did it, and after that, I just I played my game the rest of the round, and I won in like very convincing fashion. Like I finished with a Misa Heihachi. I remember my pop off. I said, "This is my yard now."
Okay.
Great moment, great moment. I cite that as when I'd finally reached a new pinnacle as a competitor, I guess. Like, because after that, it was like nothing phased me at all anymore in anything. My career advanced. Not long after that, I got an offer for a job much better than one I was at the time. Since then, I have a department where I've kind of built it from scratch, and now we're one of the leading providers in the state for ABA. We've really grown since I've been there, and a lot of lessons I learned playing fighting games I applied to there. I had a Red Bull article written about me that weekend too that I used as part of my
That's
interview
cool.
package when I got that job. But yeah, but I see so many players and get swallowed by that adrenaline jump that you feel in trials. So
Wow.
many of them. Guys who throw their sticks. Guys who shouldn't. Guys who are sponsored. Who had their trips paid for. Who have the jersey and all that stuff. I see them just flip their lid over games they're not even entering or have sponsorships for.
Well, I mean, that's just kind of how people are. I don't know. I don't really. Have I ever seen? Well, I knew a guy who used to do that. I never understood it. The in my mentality about it is like, why am I going to throw my controller or throw my stick? Because that's just going to cost me like another $200 to replace it. So I never really understood that. I guess I'm just like too practical or too frugal to do stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense to me. I can't even explain it to you.
Yeah, but you see it a lot, and I think because, like, I like to think they're feeling like what we felt the adrenaline dump, and they get frustrated that all their nerves kind of shut down from the stress, knowing that they were this close or things were this dire. But
Maybe.
but keep in mind, not I don't think many of them really have like the jobs we do, where like we're frequently like put under the grill either for legal battles like you do, or for me like mental health struggles like kids who are like individuals might be suicidal or things like that. I've had to deal with that as well. But yeah,
Yeah. That's
we deal with these crises every day that really strengthen our nerves for things as minor as video games.
Well, it depends. For some people, that's all they have. So I mean,
Yeah,
maybe they take it more seriously or more personally.
absolutely. And this is what I tell people as well. If they have like other career aspirations or even just an esports aspirations, just remember that the skills you learn playing fighting games and like the lessons you learn, don't forget that if in case like you can't make things work out the way you'd like, the human being you've been shaped as in your struggles in fighting games, you can take to other profitable ventures. And a lot of players, I guess, feel down on themselves about that because they can't go over the hump, so to speak. So, and that's what I want to do, I guess. Like, I think that's what I call the FGC at this point. Like I said, I have a decent trophy case at this point, but given where I am in my personal career as a behavior analyst, I want to use my experiences to empower players and help them become the best they can be and become unshakable. Like, I want them to be, like, again, just like unshakable, where they can look at games like we do. Not just so much just for fun, but like the fact that nothing really shakes us no matter what game we're playing, just because like we've experienced like much worse.
Well, no, I forgot what I was gonna say.
No
Sorry.
worries. Right now I'm watching. I'm almost done. This is a set I had with Escobar. He's playing Nina Kami. I'm playing Alyssa Zangief. This is like my first time playing Alyssa Zangief. Um,
Geef is so cheap in that game. I mean, I know he can't do all that Pandora stuff, but oh my god, he's so cheap.
it's all about crouching jab for this man.
Yeah.
And the green hand really helps him. Like I was just trying like a setup that a player from the Philadelphia area. His name is Rikwa. He plays Zangief Kuma, a team that shouldn't work on paper, but just because Rikwa's Rikwa, it somehow works for him. I had to like kind of just play pure footsies to really stop his role. But I
Or he
take
just played
stuff from other
Jin.
players and I try to adapt it as my own. Like even players I emerge victorious in matches with, I'm someone who believes, like you can learn something from anybody. And and because I play this game so much, I can see ideas of merit even if they don't immediately work out. Like if I can't like immediately punish something, I know like it's worth exploring further, and may want to play the team later. Maybe adapt as my own. So I'm
Well,
watching. Go on.
I said it was like someone, who dragon punches like 4 or 5 times in a row on their wake up. On paper, it's not supposed to work, but there are situations in certain matchups against certain people that it will work against. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like, and I remember telling Aziz, his name's Aziz Sensei. I think he plays Dragon Ball now. He didn't like five that much, but I told him, hey, I'm using Vega as a grappler counter pick. So I pick Vega Raves with my backup teams.
Mhm.
I didn't want to play like a Vega mirror because that would have been a pain in the butt for me. So I didn't really play a
Yeah,
Vega Raven on you, but that is one of my backup teams. I really appreciate seeing another Vega enthusiast. My sister actually, we'll start wrapping this up here. My sister actually has a giant Vega statue in her house.
cool. Sounds like my people.
Yeah, and she also has like a bison. On the top of her bookshelf. I'm stuttering so much. At the top of her bookshelf, she has Bison and Frieza standing next to each other, but I think it's pretty sweet.
Oh, so she likes the anime villains.
She's not the only one. Most of my mains in fighting games are all like bad guys. Bison, Heihachi. I was a Frieza player during the Budokai days. Um, so yeah, and I play Sigma as well in Marvel Infinite because he's like Robot Bison.
I liked Raditz and Budokai. I don't know why. I was just like playing Raditz for some reason.
Double Sunday.
Yeah,
Double
I just thought he
Sundays.
was. I just thought he was cool just because he was like just like so evil. He was like the evilest of all of the three Saiyans because Vegeta was evil, but then he became good, and Nappa was evil, but he got killed and he was lame. Raditz was like cool because he Goku actually had to die in order to get rid of Raditz. So I think he did better than Vegeta and Nappa did
I would have been
against Goku anyway.
I would have been so hyped if the new movie was Raditz's Revenge. I even said like for Fighter Z, instead of having the plot they did, they should have had 21 be Jiro's daughter instead of his wife, and reveal that Jiro actually saved Raditz and resuscitated him after that battle, and then Raditz became his advisor um, on how strong he should make the androids. He just says, well, this is how strong Frieza is, so just make it stronger than that, he should be good. And that's why the androids are just so strong despite all the other robots just being like a Dragon Ball level. And then later, Raditz will coordinate with 21 to use the evil satellite thing she had to power him, and then he'll be like Frank, where his scouter checks level him up, and then his final level 5 is like a Super Saiyan 4 Rat or something like that.
Sounds like you should write like one of those fan anime or no fan mangas or what do they call those?
Oh yeah. So I do have a
Dojins or
fanfiction.net
whatever.
account I haven't
Dojons.
used in years, but I do write from time to time. But yeah, I'm a big fantasy booker. I do it for wrestling too. But yeah, but going back to the topic at hand, yeah, we love our anime villains. Like I play Sigma, I play Frieza, Bison, Heihachi, what else do I play? Astaroth. I guess I'd be more Cervantes guy if I really stuck with. But I play Astaroth instead in Soul Calibur. So more like the bad guy Grunt.
I
Who else do
gotcha.
I play in games? I think I'm a big Mr. McMahon fan in WWE.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, Mr. McMahon is like, imagine the crazy laughing geese, but all the time in real life. That's basically Mr. McMahon, the character. I play geese. I play a Billy. I actually play Billy in Fatal Fury, not geese. So go figure.
Yeah, I don't. Fatal Fury. I remember playing. I think I rented that from Blockbuster, and I played it for like a week, and that's all I know about Fatal Fury.
It's I like the characters more than most KOF characters. Billy's like the Vega, like story wise.
I gotcha.
Yeah, he's like he's the most loyal support. Keep in mind when I'm growing up, Vega was basically what Fong is now, like the most loyal of Bison's three generals. But then
I
over
gotcha.
time, Vega became more of an independent, and then Fong came over recently, and now he's like the loyal one.
Yeah, they just need to make Vega good again in fighting games. I'm tired of these like watered down bad versions of the character. Give me this. Give me Super Turbo Vega. Give me the 50-50 mix-ups and all
Yeah,
hard knockdown setups. Give me the fun stuff.
they make this wall jump worse and worse each game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I know
I
how you
think
feel. I hate it too.
it's better in 5 than it was in 4. I mean, in 4 you had certain in 4 you had loops on certain characters. Like you could wall dive what was her name, Viper, to death. Couldn't get out of it if you did it right. Hello?
Sorry, but I'm listening. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, I did. I thought you like lost connection or something.
No, no.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but yeah, I just miss even in Super Turbo. I mean, I play him in Super Turbo, and I still can't win Super Turbo tournaments with him. So I don't think he's that busted.
Well, as a fellow Vega player in Super Turbo, I appreciate you talking to me. And again, congratulations on your gold medal and all the
Thank you.
cash I gave you that weekend. You earned every single penny.
Thank you. I'll be back next year.
All right, and I'm planning to be back. So for now, count me being back with more cross tech in action. I'm going to start wrapping things up. Looks like that's the last of our footage from Casual to
All right.
CEO. It was great to have you on board. Tell me about your story, and again, I wish you the best in all of your endeavors, whether it be in fighting games or in the courtroom. It sounds like you have a great career. It sounds like you have a wonderful, like a wonderful family. Having your wife
Yeah.
support you, and
Yep.
I'm sure she's very proud of everything you've done.
Yeah. Yeah. She's great. She's we had a celebratory dinner she made for me after I got home.
Well, like I
She's
said,
very excited.
and you earned it, and I wish you the best in that regard. It looks like I have one more match on this. I'm watching me play with Escobar one more time. But
Cool.
after this, we'll start wrapping things up, and I'll also be sure to announce some stuff at the end of the stream. So, guys, if you're here, so I'm gonna put like some word from our sponsor real quick as I finish this up. As a reminder, guys, if you're looking for CEO pool footage, that's gonna be on Cross Counter TV. I partnered with Gutex throughout the weekend. I'll have Cross Tekken footage there. I gave him Marvel Infinite CEO footage in full 1080p. So if you're a Marvel Infinite head here for Marvelous Meetings and you're looking for CEO footage, turn to Cross Counter TV. I gave all of it to him. I also streamed Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. For those of you who know, my tag Psycho Blue comes from Power Rangers in Space. It was an honor to be able to stream that event, or rather record that event. My stream wasn't really working because the internet sucked balls there. So I record everything with the LGP, gave all the to Cross Counter TV once more. We had some Dead or Alive footage as well, so if you are a part of the Dead or Alive crowd who joins Cross Wires for that, we did record some of that. That'll also be on Cross Counter TV. And that's about all I have for you, Steve. Steve, thank you very much for coming and talking to you again. I'm really honored to hear your story. I appreciate you sharing with me.
Sure, no problem.
All right, and again, it was great to finally play you as well. Like I said earlier, I've been following you on Twitter for a long time, and I finally play you and realize the depth of your skill. I was honored to play you, so thank you again. I learned some stuff too watching these replays. I'll have to apply it to my own Vega and improve what I do with him. Because I'm trying to play Vega Raven.
Excellent. All right. Glad to hear it.
All
Thank
right,
you for having me on, and you know, it's been Super fun.
Absolutely. I'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will catch you next time, my friend.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Talk to you later.
See ya. Okie dokie. So we're going to wrap things up in just a moment right after this match is done. So let's see what's going on here. Don't have time to really focus on it. Seems like Escobar's Cammy's doing some pretty decent lanes, not really falling through upon it. That's how he doesn't really play cross second that much. Something against Escobar. Oh, there we go. There's a nice little boost. But he should be a little bit more confident in his confirms. Even gets a link. Just finish with a boost. Yeah, I'm dead there, however. Let's see if I can finish the job. So far, this Alyssa Zangief team is working pretty good for me. Yeah, Escobar is not like that deep into it like I am, but all the same, there's some pretty nice stuff with this team that I'm kind of surprised myself with, just because of how new it is. I'm gonna miss this, by the way. No, I didn't. Yeah, this team has some pretty nice setups. Not gonna lie. I dropped it. No worries. That tart combo is so good. Where have you been in my life, Alyssa? I know I've been playing against you a lot whenever Lenneth plays me. Is that the end? One more? One more. Okay. After this finishes up, I kind of want to, check out the new Power Rangers patch as well. Unfortunately, it's not on Steam yet, but I do have a PS4 and crossplay and kind of, not crossplay, share play, because I have it on my computer. My PS4 can play PS4 games on my computer. So, did I just say? Anyway, I can play PS4 games on my computer using the PS4 share feature. So I'll do that after this is done. I'm really excited about Zed being in the game. Man, I'm having trouble talking. My speech has been so jumbled the past few weeks. I noticed in my commentary at CEO, maybe because when it gets warm, my brain gets all mushy and whatever. Just raw lunch. Right through it. No F's given. Good block of the overhead. Man, I'm tired. I can tell I've gotten quiet. Typically, I am not someone who stays quiet for long. I think this might be the last match. Oh, maybe not. Played a lot of matches. Also, before I go to bed, I need to do some paperwork. It's one of those days, but I did get to show you all this lovely footage from CEO in full 1080p. Keep messing up the timing of the anti-air lariat. I feel bad. that's dead. GG's. Did we play a full first to 10? I don't remember. I do hope you guys like my Alyssa Zangief day one, first time in a match footage. So far, it seems working out pretty well for me. Might be... Ooh. What was that pause? Yep. I read it correctly. Pat on the back. Man, Ricky! Rick, well, I can see why you use that so much. Wow, it is intimidating. He had no idea what I was going to do. I was expecting a DP, but that works as well. That worked out perfectly. Yeah, Rick, well, I can see why you play Geef in this game. What a glorious Oki he has. Still going. Bop, bop, bop. Bigger throw. I could have larried there. There we go. I was missing that last time. Another launch. Ah, missed it. Too far. Good catch. I might be dead. Maybe not. Oh, I shouldn't have jumped. He could have anti-aired me. Thankfully he didn't, and I think I got this. Yep. Maybe? Is it over? One more? Oh. Wow, I played way more matches than I thought I did. Jeez. Guess I'll commentate now. I'm hitting like every raw launch known to man this set. I was on like some next level. Oh no, I missed the anti-air again. The Lariat is such a interesting invincibility startup. Oh, can't be whiffing that haymaker. This time I didn't hit the raw lunge and I missed again. I guess he's finally realizing stop pressing lows on me. That's what's going to happen. I missed again, third time in a row. Wow, I'm being so arrogant with it. I deserve to lose that round. Because as I'm talking about all the cool stuff I'm doing, that happens. Uh-oh. I guess that's the end of the footage, guys. Thank you guys for joining me this evening. If you liked what you saw, please view our other features as well as the content we have to offer. For example, please do check out the Street Fighter Cross Tekken Complete dossier. We have the bit link there. It has sample combos, strengths and weaknesses, team placements, and cumulative rundowns of every single character in the game. Additionally, if you're looking for games, you can join the official Street Fighter Cross Tekken Discord pictured on the top left. Also, we do in fact have another Marvelous Meetings next Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. This will be a double elimination tournament. If you are interested in joining it, please view my Twitter. I do believe I've stickied the post with the challenge bracket. You can also join the official Crosswires Discord for all future Marvel Infinite events. This is, again, Steam's premier Marvel Hangout, where you can play Marvel Capcom Infinite with other Steam players if that is your system of choice. And please, do join us. It's a great time all around. Additionally, we do, in fact, have the continuing footage of NBA Playgrounds 2K crossplay crossovers. I've been slowly gathering matches when I can find them. You can either view me on Twitch if I feel like live streaming one day, or you can view my YouTube segment SFXT, where I will upload a compilation of matches that I've played online with other people. This wonderful 2-on-2 basketball game. Please do check it out. There might be a new one coming out soon, though, so don't check it out too heavily so you don't get outdated. But we shall see in the meantime. Also, I will be resuming the Dead or Alive. I'll be resuming the Dead or Alive 6 Duo Fantasy pretty soon. Now that my schedule's kind of calm, there's no tournaments in the pipeline for a while. I'll probably start my first official Steam tournament fairly soon. I'll talk to Free Step Dodge and those guys. It'd be a good day to do our first Steam tournament. Now that the lobbies are an actual thing, please do play Dead or Alive 6. Fantastic 3D fighting game. Embrace your core values. In the meantime, Psycho Blue, conductor of the Hype Train, Mr. Hype Gems, hashtag Crosswires. I wish you all a wonderful Wednesday evening. Enjoy the lower end of the hump. Tomorrow's Thursday, so get ready for the weekend, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.